Clerk, are we ready?
We are.
Let me get my glasses. I can see.
I just can't wear this thing.
Clerk says she's ready?
Yes.
Yes, she does.
Ooh. Sorry. This is the City of Stewart Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. It's March 22nd at 5 p.m. City Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Chairperson Clark,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Matheson,
Yes.
Board Member Bruner,
Here.
Board Member McDonald,
Here.
Board Member Meyer,
Here.
Board Member Kempenny,
Yes.
Board Member Walson.
Thank you. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Vice Mayor will lead us in the prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thanks. Let me close this. Sorry. Hold on, please. So we have our agenda as published.
Madam Mayor, I move approval of the agenda.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Member Kempenny. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have a unanimous approval of the agenda. Let's move forward. The next item is the minutes from February 22nd, 2021 CRA meeting.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner McDonald, seconded by Member Kempenny. Again, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved, no changes. Are there any comments from the public at this time? Okay, see none. We move on. Are there any comments from any board members?
Madam Chair,
Okay, so we have Vice Mayor and we have Commissioner Meyer. Who would like to go first? Vice Mayor?
Sure.
Okay.
Pertaining to the CRB board, I just wanted to mention I had an enjoyable time of the Gateway entrance triangle tour. I know many of my fellow commissioners and other CRA and CRB board members were there. Two things that I took away that I'd like to see us all think about. One was the functionality of the archways and some of the language that's in our code regarding the downtown development. And I was glad Jessica brought it to my attention when we were on the walk there. You know, some of the buildings conformed with those archways there, but as we walked around that district as a group, some of us naturally went into the shade structures of the archways or canopies. And at other times, we didn't at all, because it was one or two steps higher or they just didn't actually fit. And we're talking, for the audience and for the record, this is a group of probably 35 of us walking around the Gateway Triangle, kind of north of what we all call the Potsdam area, observing the architecture and different functionalities of the sidewalks, the on-street parking. And, you know, this is a conversation I had with Jessica early on to just kind of note how the archways and breezeways and canopies were used by us as a group. And I intend to keep that in mind for different approvals or rejections as they come forward with different projects, because some of them clearly were used and we spaced out as a group and just naturally absorbed that shaded area. And others, because of a 1 or 2 foot step up, they were there and they met our city code, but they weren't used by a group of pedestrians. So I'd like us all to try and keep that in mind. That was one of my takeaways from the tour. The other one was the sidewalk mosaics. that really didn't reach quite so much into they come right on the edge. They're all throughout Potsdam area, but they are in the CRA, and I have not heard a negative thing about them from any resident. And it's something that personally I'd like to see done and spread throughout other districts slowly. And in my mind, the top of the list would be to kind of clear out the beaded ones, the beat down ones, if that's proper Mosaic terminology, I don't know. But in the Potsdam area, there's some that could use a little TLC, and maybe the city, through the CRA, can bring them back to a blank slate. And then I spoke with Nancy Terrell, the Arts Council there. She'd be more than happy to kind of set up an instruction sheet for city residents, so kind of a pathway that they could follow to redo some of the mosaics, whether it's neighbors in the area or local artists. But I haven't spoken to anyone who had anything bad to say about all those sidewalk mosaics, and I think they add a lot of character and improvement to pedestrians. So, Commissioner Meyer? That's all.
Hold on, Mrs. Shaw. It's not the time right now. Hold on.
Michelle McGrane.
Oh, that's Michelle. I thought you were Mary. Hold on, Michelle. Hold on, please. Okay.
I think that's all for
Okay.
me, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had I had a great time at this walking tour. I learned a lot, and like Commissioner Matheson mentioned with regard to the arcades, some of which were functional and some of them which were just merely stylistic. I thought a lot about the form-based code, and I know I've talked about that over the years up here. I think over the last couple meetings, some of the anxiety in the community about the character of Stewart changing, about the look and feel of the new developments. I think that now is a good time, especially since we are working with the Regional Planning Council on these two areas, to look into what it would be to kind of naturally spin a form-based code out of some of this work, geared toward, I think, first the CRA. I know could be quite expensive, but I think it's worth us looking into. I think it will help to better codify some of those stylistic elements that are actually supposed to be functional and provide the public benefit, and make sure that they're used properly, so that it's not just style over substance. So I'm going to ask that we look into that on the CRB and go through the proper channels to bring that forward, whether it means putting out for bid. But I'd like to see some movement really towards us working on form-based code for the CRA. I also spoke with Julie Priest about the historic neighborhood, the Potsdam neighborhood. I used to live there. It's a great neighborhood. And I've been tracking a couple bills. There's a House and Senate bill, a building design bill. In fact, Representative Overdorf is the sponsor of the House bill that would limit our ability to enforce any design standards on single-family homes or duplexes unless they are in a CRA or in a historic district. And I think that's a good kind of kick in the butt for me. We consider Potsdam to be a historic district, but we actually haven't followed through and created it as an actual historic district. And I think since our CRB also acts as the Historic Preservation Board, I think that would be a good thing to start investigating, creating an official historic district on the state and maybe federal register if that's possible, so that we can start getting some of those design protections in the event that Representative Overdorf's bill, the legislature passes that design standards bill. And then finally, I've been thinking a lot about transit. I know it's probably more than just the walking tour we did, but throughout the CRA certainly, walking around, biking around, and really as a big group talking about how the streets were designed and pedestrian safety and bicyclist safety. I learned a lot in that tour. And I thought a lot about the ways that our roadways especially ones like Colorado or eventually Ocean, hopefully Palm City Road, other areas where we are trying to encourage people to walk and bike. Right now, it feels very disjointed. We have developments come in, we ask them to do 8-foot sidewalks or 6-foot sidewalks or parallel parking. Sometimes we have a bike lane plan, but there's no real connect, as far as I'm concerned, maybe there is in staff, but some sort of network plan that we're moving towards where we know that, you know, Palm Beach Road and Ocean and Canner and Palm City Road are all going to be connected with bikes, bike lanes or walking paths, and there's an actual connectivity and not just little fits and starts. And then maybe we can look at, if we're going to be doing a plan, our streetscape plan through the MPO, or with funds through the MPO or TAP grants, we could actually start putting some of those multi-use paths buffered with landscaping and parallel parking so that people feel more safe and compelled to ride their bikes rather than just, if they're protected, rather than in the road. So it's a lot all at once, but I would like to look into that as well, how we can kind of transportation alternatives with regard to bikes, pedestrians, and how they're networked, and what design standards we should be looking at as we're redoing streets, important connected streets. Okay.
Anyone
Wow.
else with any
Madam
comment?
Madam Chair?
Any other commission, board members?
Go ahead, go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Just real quick, I agree with both those comments, but this is the CRA, so I think you'll have to bring that all up again if you want to go further than the CRA at some point, but I think it would be a good item to have. And I agree with you, Member Meyer, that a form-based code in certain areas of the city would relieve a lot of problems so that not everything has to be a PUD. And people will know what should go there, and we could have all our arguments ahead of time. And then once it's there, people who want to develop in that area will know this is what they can do as of right, which is not really the case now because of the way our code is structured. So I agree with that wholeheartedly.
All right, any other comments from board members?
None.
None? Okay, I'll just make a small comment, and I agree with Member Campini that even when we discuss this, of course, CRB has to discuss, but the main thing is our city council. But I just wanted to thank the Regional Planning Council for moving forward on that part of their work, and for the staff work that we do here. And I'm hoping that when they come back with that Potsdam study, I know that they have the US 1 corridor, whatever we accept from them, hopefully that will be the start of more meetings with the public to really get some things, to let them know what the result is and what's going on with that. So I think it's important. One thing that was brought up to me probably afterwards by Mr. Dana Little and others was about the reunion of Andres Duani, who started in 1989, and that maybe the city of Stewart can collaborate with other people, the Arts Council and whatnot, to maybe do something, whatever format we want to do it in, so that people know and look at the progress of redevelopment in Stewart, and then, do a kind of forward look. And I have been talking to the previous city managers, as well as our current city manager and our staff, about trying to work to get even a similar plan to get our commissioners and our board members and our CRB members over into East Stewart, and to get that on some kind of a planning level. I know that we had the East Stewart PUD zoning that became an issue, but again, looking at form-based code for the CRA area and for other areas, for the entire area, or for specific small areas within that. We've had the historic downtown district, that please that we would work and try to look at what has happened with all of our downtown area since the Andres Duani plan, and we've had a East Stewart charrette since 2003, and we still need to work on trying to get that together. So I want to make sure that we include something in the future to have some specific planning efforts in that area. So I think that's a good thing. I did call for comments from the public, 3 minutes. This is our CRA meeting, and I see that Ms. Michelle McCrane had her hand up. This is not a regular city commission meeting. The commissioners are here. This is the CRA. Did you come specifically for this, Michelle? You can come up and speak.
For her,
Or you just had a thing about?
Well, we can hear your
Give us
comments.
give us a word, give us a word.
I'll turn it on. Thank you. Michelle McCrane, I live in the Potsdam neighborhood, and about 10, 12 years ago, I initiated the Mosaic project and got all the neighbors involved in it. So if you have any interest in going through with, furthering that, we'd be, Kim Wall and I would be more than happy to help you with any information that you would need. That's all I had wanted to interject. So, because we would love to see it throughout
Excellent.
more of the neighborhood. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Crane.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. So we'll stop our public comment and our board member comment, and we'll go straight to the Community Redevelopment Agency presentation by our staff. So this is a presentation of new applications for the Business Improvement Reimbursement Program for fiscal year 2021.
Thank you. Kunal Gandhi Savdas, CRA Administrator for the record. This is applications for 2021 grant burp cycle. We received 4 applications for this cycle. One application did not meet the outdoor dining program guidelines, so we're revisiting those guidelines, and that application will be brought to you at a later date. CRA allocates $50,000 for this incentive program to encourage local businesses to make exterior improvements, visible improvements that's visible from the right-of-way. This helps to increase the property values, helps to generate tax increment revenue for the CRA that we can reinvest back into the community. This is a program that provides reimbursement of 50% of the total cost of the project, not to exceed $10,000. Last year, we did amend our evaluation criteria, so staff reviewed the new application based on those new criteria, and that was provided in your agenda package. We also did a scoring tier, so if the applications receive a score of 10 to 30 points, they're qualified to receive up to $3,000, 31 to 50 points, up to $6,000, and 51 to 100 points, up to $10,000, which is the full amount that you could get in this program. So I'll start with the first applicant. It's Noble Shoes, Berry and Company Jewelers. They're located right at the gateway of our the Creek District. The address is 888 South Colorado Avenue. They're looking to improve by adding new awnings and resurfacing the driveway and parking lot. This is the rendering of the awnings that they would be installing, and it would be facing Colorado. The total cost of the project is $6,980, so they're qualified to receive up to $3,490. Some of the benefits to the CRA that it'll provide shaded pedestrian environment by providing some cover over the sidewalk on Colorado Avenue. It improves the aesthetic, the architectural aesthetic of the building. Again, like I mentioned, it is a gateway to the Creek and Arts and Entertainment District and then into our historic downtown. The resurfacing will improve the aesthetic appeal of the property, also provides safety for pedestrian vehicles accessing the driveway and parking lot. And based on the criteria, the applicant scored 75 points. The second application is from Therapeutic Massage. They're located at 413 Southwest California Avenue. This is in our Potsdam neighborhood. The applicant is looking to put new stairs, replace siding, and new front porch. This shows existing conditions of the building. The total cost of this project is $14,400. The applicant is qualified to receive up to $7,200. Some of the benefits include it improves the exterior appearance of the structure. It's located in our historic Potsdam neighborhood. We passed by this house when we did the tour, the walking tour a couple of weekends ago. It helps to preserve our historic property. It's listed on our 1991 survey of historic properties. It was built in 1912. And this property is highly visible during the tram route, and it's also part of our historic tour. This application scored 65 points. The third application is for Professional Condo Building Plaza. This property is located at 618 Southeast Ocean Boulevard. The applicant is looking to improve the parking lot and drainage improvements. Some of the existing conditions of the parking lot. As you can see that the trees are impacting the parking lot and breaking the asphalt. The total cost of this project is $33,150. The applicant is qualified to receive up to $10,000. Some of the benefits is we're going to improve the drainage and provide aesthetic improvement to the property, provide safety for pedestrians and drivers accessing the property, also accessible parking for their clients that's using any of those units, and so that helps to keep the commercial leasing going and helps the property value because the building is not, and the units are not just sitting empty, they're being occupied by tenants. So the businesses also benefit by having this accessible parking lot for their clients. This application scored 65 points. Here's a summary of all three applications and the scoring, and all of them qualified to receive up to $50,000 of their total cost. Noble Shoes qualifies to receive $3,490. Therapeutic Massage qualifies to receive $7,200, and Professional Condo Building Plaza qualifies to receive the full amount of $10,000. Staff is requesting approval to accept staff recommendation for the grant, and also requesting to continue the grant cycle for another 60 days because there is a remaining balance of $30,000. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much. So we have three projects. We can either take discussion item by item, or if we can, I don't know if you'd want to make a motion with regard to all
Madam Mayor,
three. What would you like to do?
I'll make a motion for all three for approval.
A second.
Will you also include in your motion about extending the program?
Yeah.
If you go back. we can
Oh, yeah,
extend the
extending it,
cycle.
yes,
Extending the grant cycle.
yes, I'll include that in my motion. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, so there's been a motion by Commissioner McDonald, seconded by Commissioner Bruner. And, Madam Clerk, did you understand what Commissioner Campani wanted him to add, or do you?
Yes, extending the program.
Okay.
May
You
I,
have that then?
Mayor,
Yes.
may I say a few words? I really thank you, Pamela, I always say it wrong, what you do. It is just wonderful for our city. And, we've had a lot of people saying, stop building and don't do this and don't do that. And I think of all the work that's gone into our little town for 30-something years and people seeing the vision, I wish more people understood that, because if we have to be able to help all these businesses so that they stay here. And then we attract a lot of tourists that move here, or they come here just to vacation. And it's so important. I wish more could understand that what we're doing is improving, and adding on and making it more beautiful. When you come down Colorado, I remember how ugly and horrible Colorado was, and then you get to the city, and we were, growing and making a big splash. But now that road is so attractive. There's other roads we want to do that are going to be attractive over at the park. But if we didn't have the money and the people coming in here, we couldn't do any of this. So anyway, thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I was gonna go to the public, but, I'll go to the public, then I can come back to the commissioners. We have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment on this motion? Yes, ma'am, please come on up. State your name for the record. You have 3 minutes. Your name and address.
Okay. No, my name is Monique. I actually own 618 with all that drama going on. And I wanted to say thank you guys as well because, like many, I ended up moving here from New York. I grew up in Stewart, went away to college, I did what everyone says, we won't come back to Stewart. And then I came back, but, so I don't think people realize how it takes all of us to keep Stewart. We are one of the richest counties. We are, we got great schools. We have a lot of great things, and it takes a lot to keep, all these great buildings and architecture and landscape going, and it's very expensive. I never thought I'd get a quote for $83,000, for trees in a parking lot. And, Panay, like she said, you've done great because people don't realize what goes into maintaining Stewart, to keep our aesthetics, keeping all of us who want to come and walk downtown Stewart all the time. So I think it's great, and I hope that, others, they keep coming and visiting our town. We've got a great town, and it takes all of us to make all this great stuff happen. So I just wanted to say thanks, and thanks to all of you.
Thank you.
You're
And
most
when I
welcome.
think-
Thank you.
I wanted to say, go ahead. I wanted to say, people are always saying, our charming town, you're gonna ruin it, you're tearing it up. It's become charming because of all we've done.
Right.
This is the charming town, the city
Right.
of Stewart right now. That's what you want, and that's what we brought, and it's what I've wanted. So
Yeah,
thank
and
you
it,
so much.
it makes
means a
it
lot to
nicer,
us.
and I just hope it keeps going, and I'm just happy that everything's going well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other, yes, ma'am, please fill that out with your name fully. Any other public comments on this item with regarding the reimbursement program and the 3 projects which have been proposed for approval? Any other commissioners with any comments? Clerk, would you please call the roll? Sorry, I should say board members. I keep forgetting which meeting I'm in.
Board Member Campenny?
Yes.
Board Member Meyer?
Yes.
Board Member McDonald?
Yes.
Board Member Bruner?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Matheson?
Yes.
Chairperson Clark?
Yes.
Move adjournment.
Okay, thank you. We're adjourned.
Oh.
2 seconds, Mayor.